In 1720, one of the world's richest nations nearly collapsed, not from war or plague, but from paperwork. We're told the South Sea bubble was a simple story: greedy speculators, wild optimism, a stock price that soared on nothing but hot air. Boom, then bust. The moral is always the same: don't be stupid, don't chase hype. But that's the museum placard version. The real mechanism was far more deliberate, and it reveals something uncomfortable about how governments have weaponized debt for 3 centuries. Let's start with what everyone gets right: the price. In 1720, South Sea Company stock traded at roughly £128. By August of that year, it hit £890. Then it collapsed to 124. Fortunes evaporated in weeks. Families were ruined. But before we blame the crowd, we need to ask, who designed this trap? Here's the real starting point. England, 1710. The nation was drowning in debt. Wars with France had been ruinously expensive. The government owed roughly £10 million, an astronomical sum. Interest payments were eating the budget alive. Something had to give. Enter a man named John Blunt. He wasn't an economist. He was a merchant with a scheme. In 1711, Blunt proposed a deal to the Treasury. Let him create a company to take on some of that national debt. The company would buy government bonds at face value. In exchange, Parliament would grant it a monopoly on South American trade. The premise was simple: South America was rich: gold, silver, spices. A monopoly on that trade would generate enormous profits. Those profits would pay the interest on the debt. Everyone wins. Except, and this is crucial, Blunt didn't actually have any ships sailing to South America yet. No infrastructure, no routes, just the promise. But here's where the mechanism gets interesting. The South Sea Company didn't just buy government debt. It issued its own stock. Lots of it. And Blunt did something clever. He made the stock attractive by letting people buy it on credit. You could put down a small percentage and owe the rest later. Sound familiar? This is the pivot point. The government wanted the debt transferred. Blunt wanted to sell stock. So he created a feedback loop. As stock prices rose, it looked like the company was becoming more valuable. That made people want to buy. Buying on credit meant more people could participate. More participants meant more price pressure upward. By 1720, this wasn't speculation anymore. It was systemic. The company itself was promoting the stock. Blunt hired men to spread rumors about imminent profits. He bribed politicians. He paid newspapers to publish optimistic projections. The government, eager to reduce its debt burden, looked the other way. And here's what the placard won't tell you. Most of the people buying stock weren't greedy speculators. They were ordinary people: widows, clergy, merchants, servants, trying to get ahead. The system had made it easy. Credit was available. Everyone around them was buying. It felt safe because it was government-backed. By summer 1720, the price had detached entirely from reality. The company was reporting profits it hadn't made. Directors were quietly selling their own shares while publicly promoting the stock. And then, in August, something shifted. A few large shareholders began cashing out. Once the selling started, the mechanism reversed. Prices fell. People who'd bought on credit were suddenly underwater. They had to sell to cover their loans. That pushed prices lower. It became a stampede. The credit structure that had amplified the rise now amplified the collapse. Within weeks, fortunes were gone. Families lost everything. Suicides were reported. Parliament launched investigations. Blunt was eventually imprisoned. But here's the thing nobody wants to admit. The government got what it wanted. The debt had been transferred. The immediate crisis was solved. The real story isn't about a bubble. It's about a system designed to move debt from the government to ordinary people, and then to collapse under its own weight. The government didn't fail. It succeeded. The people holding the stock failed. This pattern repeats. It happened with mortgages in 2008. It happens with student loans today. A financial product is created to solve a government or corporate problem. Credit is made available to ordinary people. Price signals become detached from reality. The system collapses. The people with the most leverage escape. The rest absorb the loss. What makes the South Sea Bubble historically important isn't that it happened. It's that it established a template. Governments learned they could use markets to transfer their problems. Citizens learned, too late, that being able to buy something on credit doesn't mean you should. The South Sea Company itself survived, by the way. It continued to exist, paying reduced dividends until 1853. Blunt died in prison in 1732. Most of the people who lost everything never recovered. The mechanics of how they were ruined, leverage, information asymmetry, government incentive misalignment, those mechanics are still here, still operating, still legal. This is why history of the lending industry matters. It's not nostalgia, it's pattern recognition. Understanding how this trap was built in 1720 tells you what to watch for now. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. If you want to understand how credit systems shape history and your own financial world, subscribe for a new deep dive into the architecture of lending every other week. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.